I think we have heard a lot about libraries and what it can do and what the open source libraries can benefit efficiency, productivity. Let us see a walkthrough or see a simple example and how powerful our open source libraries are. So here we'll be talking about login as an example. So let's begin our session. So some of the topics to discuss is when you talk about any application, you see login as the first screen that comes into picture, right? So do we really need these logins? If there are different types of logins that you would have seen from web to mobile application, why did the old logins fail? Do we have any solutions for the new type of logins? So these are the topics which we'll be covering today with the demo. So let's begin there. So let's see why we need login. So logins are basically for accommodating reserved sessions or safe storage space for the user information or particular customer information for the application service provider. For example, you would have seen Netflix opening and you would have seen all the titles that are coming into picture, but you will not be allowed to watch a Netflix movie unless you log in or pay the premium amount for it. So that's how logins is used in one of the use cases. Login you can see in another way. Maybe you are seeing the same Netflix on a phone and you stop seeing it and suddenly move to a smart TV or a laptop. So from where you have stopped, you can again start watching from there. So that is also another shared information about where you have stopped using, which title you were watching. You can watch it over there. So these kind of things are basically achieved using the login. So one of the famous thing I think many youngsters would relate with is sharing in social forums using their logins. So they have played a game, they want to showcase how they have done better. So they want to project it in their social forums. So logins are used there as well. But do we need logins everywhere? But on a statistical study, it has been seen that 86% of the users don't actually like to have logins. And the onboarding process for majority of the apps that we go through always have this challenge of people uninstalling the app because of the cumbersome onboarding process. So we need to calculate it where it really needs, whether it is really needed to do a login or not. So some of the examples where I shared login is needed. So we can think where login is more required. So let's see another topic. Why did old logins fail? We had a lot of web logins before. We had username, passwords, all were running fine. Fine. Some of the basic issues that we had is each type of web application needed different type of a username, a user ID, or a different combination of a password. People had a lot of difficulty in remembering these logins. And also the other part is the security, which is the biggest issue where majority of the information was shared to application server and easily it can be hacked. So there is also, we had another problem of you cannot restore your account. There is no secondary backup channels where your login can be activated. Imagine the same situation for a banking account where all of your funds, everything is taken away. So those are some of the challenges the older logins had. So now, since we are talking about logins, right now we have different types of logins, different methodologies, where I said there is no transport layer security for the older HTTP transports. They enhanced with that, but still it had the problem of multiple logins. Uh, People have to remember all these things. So there comes some of the things like OAuth authorization in the new modern thing. There are still multiple other type of logins. For the mobile client perspective, OAuth is something that is standard these days for every other authorization purpose. The main important reason is we don't have to allow all our personal information to be accessed by the application server. That is our provider, right? So OAuth is what? OAuth is generally an API and or a service. It is an open standard which can be developed by anyone else. So here on the right side, I have given a simple flow of flow of transactions that happens. how the transaction or authorization is granted, how the access token is shared, and how the resource is shared. In a simple way to say, let us say, take an example of a hotel card key where you need to access your room. That's how the hotel card key is given. So how do we get this hotel card key? You need to go to the front desk, authorize yourself that I am the right person, and then the hotel card key is given. And you can share corresponding resources allowed in the hotel, maybe the pool, gym, or the restaurant, these specific access. So some of them will be privileged, some will get on very few basic privileges. So that can be managed directly by hotel card key. Let us break it in terms of an application where an application requests the user about the authorization for particular information. The user authorizes the app and delivers proof that this is me. The app gets this authorization to the server and gets a particular token, and this token is used to get specific access. Here we are talking about the flow where we can see how the authorization process helps us in getting all this information. So let's see a little bit detail about it. Where a user goes into login into mobile device, he needs to provide his credentials. There is an application server, there is an authorization server, which together can be made and which provides us required information to the user. But for a normal developer, if I am joining as a new developer, I want to build a simple login. I need to build an application server. I need to make an authorization server, which makes the implementation of this login itself so complicated. Forget about the business logic about the application. Here comes some of the solutions, some of the services that are already available from the open source, which will be used in open source in development of the application. So already you would have used many of these things. Today we will see that in action. So where open source is used, I think everywhere where we are seeing this flows, there is an open source solution available for each of this. Take it as a application server or an authorization server, and the client side implementation of authorization, where the end user don't have, the developer need not bother about how to implement all this infrastructure to just implement an entry of a login. So then we will see another important thing called social log, which is an advantage for our older logins where user had to remember multiple user IDs and passwords. Social logins are something where you log in through some of your existing authorization services like Google, Facebook, or Amazon, LinkedIn, all these services. So what this helps is you don't actually remember each and every application's login. How did I log in? I just say login via Google. So this will make sure the Google takes information or authorization from you as a user to share particular information to the application. This also we will cover in our demo. So let's see the solutions that are readily available for end-to-end. Whether you talk about application server or an authorization server, Apple provides this kind of service to all its platform. Google and Facebook also has these services for authorization, and Google also has something called as Firebase, which provides E2E cloud management of the applications. It also provides authorization, uh, storage mechanism, and many other AI ML computing as well on the cloud. So this is one of the main reasons. This is my favorite go-to solution for everything. Apart from these kind of open source services that are readily available, we also have commercial services like OAuth, OneAll, and Login Radius. These guys provide more than 40 social logins in one simple SDK that you download, and you just integrate. Some of them are even free for regular simple usages. Based on your usage, you will pay. So with that, I'll conclude my slides and I'll go back to the demo. So here is my cloud Firestore console. So I hope everybody can see this. So recently I made a simple, very simple application. This is also an open source code, which in our Slack channels, I'll be sharing this entire code. So you guys can see this code and see how it works. So let me say, begin this. I'm just launching my app on the phone as well. So this is a console that you will be seeing, where you have a lot of services that are provided by uh, Firebase. I'll just pick authentication as one of the simplest things. So let us see how does it work. So first and most simple thing that it has is sign-in methods. So you can see there is a email, password, sign-in, phone, and Google ways of signing in. So here I can add a demo user. Maybe I'll say applib demo, and our email name impulse. So I've already downloaded from GitHub a project and I've already fired it. So here is a code where I'll be trying to do a lot of stuff. Okay. So let's bring in. This is my physical phone. And also I have my okay. So here is an emulator and a physical phone. Both I'm trying to use this. So here is an application. This is also a GitHub open source project, which gives an example of how you should use Android application for doing your authentication process. So here we'll see two of the things, one in the phone and another one is emulator. So here we can see a Google sign-in process. So here both are my accounts. I will use one and here I'll use another one. So you can see already it is up running. The bare minimal changes that have been done is only to configure with my package name on the cloud server, and that's it. I am done. So what is this information? This is just the UID that is present here. Let us tweak this thing a little bit to see what else I can do. So here is this is a object I am getting. So we will go in detail sessions of all this information in further. For the sake of our demo, we will make it simple. So I can also get the display name of it. So which I'd like to see here. Here I am seeing a UID phase Firebase UID. Let me change the string name. Maybe display name. Save that. And instead of getting a UID, let me get a display. So as simple as this. So let's fire this up again. I think it's done in emulator as well as this. So let's see what it can do now. So you can see here already I just changed that. I think here the display name is not configured. Let me disconnect. I think it's a good. Whenever you are doing with software, you always have to see why it is failing, what are the things that's going wrong, and we should be able to debug that as well. Let's see this, or else we'll get into logs to see what is going wrong. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So I think this is already working fine. Here we can see it's still not working. I think let me clean this. This happens few times. Hopefully we should get this time. I think this time we can see here both are, I think it's just a refresh issue. So this is how we modify. Along with that, let's see some other option that we enabled where we try to do email password. I think this we tried. So here it directly logged in. Let's see what my client is doing over here. You can see here, I just added a user, but let's see what happened in backend. I could directly see there are a lot of information that is already shared to me when first time it got created, when it was signed in, what is the user ID and how many users are there. So this kind of analytics or the information about user base is already available to us over here. So these are some of the very basic features. I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg here. There are a lot of features that you can see. There is storage, there is analytics, there is hosting of your servers, many machine learning for that, say, all are available here. So some of these kind of features can be inherited. You can modify the code that is available. I'll be sharing this GitHub link in our Slack channels as well. We can modify the UI the way you want, the backend information you can change. You can give it back to the community. Some of the issues that are existing in the open source can be fixed. So what all our previous speakers spoke about, these are some of the very simple things that are in action. In the coming days, we will see such more sessions where we elaborate more on this. And we also talk about what are the better ways of handling some of these open source libraries. With what Professor Vijay said, I would like to reiterate that one. You should also be mindful about using all these reusable components, when and what should be used. And also we should be aware what it can do about. So all these things we'll be covering in our future sessions as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to do this. Thank you.